Well, hello, fellow traveler. Come on in. Let's hang out for a spell and dive deep into the annals of arcane inanity. I feel like not taking things too seriously. I feel like a little bit more levity. And let's see if we can pull a session off for a portal report that doesn't go too far out into the macrocosmic sphere. And let's see if instead we can just kind of enjoy a little dip in a sea of absurdity and see what comes through for us over the next 72 hours with this portal report. All right. We're going to let the Arcane BS dictate what this read is going to be about. The basis of the matter is the Frodis. Oh yes, with its stronghold on planet Earth, and also recognizing that though they may got an eye on us, we also got an eye on them. Okay, I didn't want to get into the macrocosmic stuff, and it comes out right off the bat. Okay, I think there is an awareness of this. There's an awareness here that part of the reason why there's so much of this surveillance energy that has come forward is because there is more awareness, more awakening around the true nature of how things function in this 3D reality. And because of that, you know, the Frodis is very much aware that we are also keeping an eye on them and how they're moving. And yeah, they may have had a certain timeline trajectory, the powers that be, to try to overthrow things through creating an infinite cosmic mess. But see, there's something really interesting happening here, and it's happening on a quantum level, but we're certainly seeing it get rooted in our physical reality. That's going to become more and more clear. The progression energy is going to become more clear. It's going to become more clear that actually fear always loses in the end, and it's always love that wins at the end of the day. Love prevails, love overcomes, because fear is something that can only be invested in for so long. At a certain point, you have to overcome fear, else you're just going to stay in a place of not really living here. But I see there's this achievement of the impenetrability of the diamond, and also something, new worlds, new realities, new experiences, new adventures are already teeming with life here. This is the moment when something does rise up out of the coop stage, and we actually realize, okay, it may be a little bit messy, but we got a raw medium to work with here. So what do we want to paint on that canvas of life? What do we want to create here? And see, that's the thing that's more threatening to the Frodis than anything else, to still have like a passion for life, to still feel that there's things that you want to create, that you do have this free will and you can use it as you choose. You can also choose how you direct it, and that's what gives it its power, this power to choose, this power to invoke your will in a direction that speaks to you. This awareness is really the antithesis of the Frodis. The Frodis wants you to be dull. The Frodis wants you to just respond to what they want you to respond to. They want you to only obey the dictates that's sort of rolled out by the machine there, but you've spent too much time on the undercarriage of that holy grail, and you're covered in grit, grime, and oil, and it may be a little bit messy, but even in the awareness of sort of the way the game is, the way life works here, there's an awareness that there's something to pull out of this when you pan out a little bit and you stop being in the center of the collision between the clashing ideals, and you actually see that there are more people here that are actually actively awakening a new kind of dream. I also see this as, stay with me here, I also see this as like there's all these wizards out there that are doing all this hedge writing, and they're doing all this timeline work, and they're trying to create these really fantastical reality tunnels. And in doing so, it's all converging and coming together in like this beautiful mess, you see? It's a beautiful mess. Look what's in this mess. It looks messy, but what spirals out of it is awareness and impenetrability and creativity and like seeding potential. And it's also very sensual, and there's a lot of heart fire behind it. It's like converging past, present, future, and really getting to that point of metamorphosis where it has to really come all undone before it can become what it wants to be. And there's like something that's holding a lot of potency here. It's an infinite cosmic mess, but it's the mess of the best kind, because it's the total dismantling of the Frodis. It's messy work, but in that space, you got a whole new medium to work with. The old reality is dissolving. This is when we start to get our wings. It's like the turning point in the storyline. And that's why it's almost like the Frodis is sleeping with one eye open. The Frodis is like, oh, okay, you know, thought we had it on lock. Thought we had it on lock. We don't have it on lock. So powers that be are starting to be more alert and watchful. That's what that surveillance energy is all about. Got to keep an eye. Got to keep an eye on those who are awake. We only want those who are awake as well. Yeah. That comes into that kind of harvesting energy. They only want the ones that are awake, you know? That's the good source of fuel for their fire, you know? This is why people get used or are used as pawns, you know? When they are awake, when they are aware, when they do have something to share, you know, there's almost a need to silence that, quiet that. You've seen too much. You've seen too much. We got to put an end to what you see. It creates an infinite cosmic mess for us, but for us all that are holding this piece of, no, we won't go back to sleep. It's birthing this real cathartic moment of creativity, but it's something that's really rippling out in the collective. It's like a turning point in the collective consciousness where it's shifting from pessimism to optimism. And the reason that's coming through precisely is that you can only stay in the fear state for so long. You can't make a home in fear. Eventually there comes a point where you have to challenge fear. And in challenging fear, you always realize that there is nothing to fear but the fear itself. And so there's more of this awareness coming in. And it's messy, but it's also, it's good, you know? It's like vitalizing force coming in here. It's really cool. It's seeding a new potential. I'm almost seeing a stag energy. It's really kind of obscure, but look, I see like the antlers up here. And there's the snout of the stag. I almost see like a stag there too. I don't know. I mean, hopefully nobody is driving crazy out in more wooded areas. Be careful if you're going to spend some time out in the woods over the next 72 hours. Make sure that you're being aware going around those corners so you don't have a collision with the stag. Just bringing that through, okay? That would be a shame, especially you just got a new car, something about that. You got a new car, you're going on a road trip, somewhere out in the woods. Be careful, okay? Going around those corners so you don't have a collision. Just want to bring that in. Keep your eyes open, all right? Don't be distracted. Keep your eyes on the road. If somebody has a tendency when they drive, they kind of like look at diversions and pay attention to the road. It's good because of somebody you're driving with, you know, maybe somebody tells you how to drive and that throws you off. Maybe you get into arguments while you're driving. Okay, this could be coming through as a clue for somebody in relation to that. But I digress. The stag energy is really letting me know that it may seem a little messy right now, but that's because there's certain characters that need to come to a critical juncture, and they have to arrive there in divine timing. Like, the characters need to show up on the path that's going to be the teacher moving forward at the same time. Like, there's a linking point here, and it is to align with that stone of destiny. But in order for that to really come through, it's a little bit messy right now. It's a little bit messy. The heat is on too. I feel like there's a little bit of a pressurized quality here just with the diamond energy. You know, you don't get a diamond without that pressure, without that heat. But it is also something that's awakening the heart. Something new is spiraling in here. And yeah, there's something about really paying attention. Paying attention. You may feel like you got eyes on you. You got an eye on that, but not in the same way that maybe eyes are on you, like people paying attention to you. You got more of like your inner vision, like picks that up. 11:11 on the clock with that. Any more details here? Yeah, she wanted to hide. She wanted to hide, of course, but I caught her just in time. Old Madam Rufflebonnet is snooping around again. Yeah, this one, man, is really tenacious. Very tenacious. I'll give Madam Rufflebonnet that. Always wants to know what's up, what's going on, what's happening here. I need to get in the thick of it. If I could be a fly on the wall. Okay, interesting. What's up with that? Okay, Madam Rufflebonnet seems to be the issue here. Okay. Maybe trying to sway a double caveman, somebody very set in their ways, to see something her way. Double caveman seems to be conflicted and is not going to budge until they feel very certain. I feel that. Yeah, they may have already dealt with a mess. They don't want more of a mess here. They may be a little confused, you know. This may be creating a little confusion, all right? So if you're somebody engaged with Madam Rufflebonnet and you're finding that it's becoming a little bit confusing, you might want to get a little space from that so you can sort that out. That might be why you feel like everything's a mess. It might be because you're kind of listening too much to somebody who's butting into your business, coming through though more under the guise of I'm being helpful, but it's not helpful. It's actually making something very conflicted or confusing. Bottom of the deck. I mean, look at your poor heart here, man. Yeah. Oh, and this came out in reverse. Look at this. The weird tree in reverse. That's not good. Oh, well, I mean, I think that you're of different ilk here. This Madam Rufflebonnet is more kind of stodgy. Maybe really set in her ways. Sees things only this way. There's no room to see anything any other way. Maybe you've been having some interesting experiences and Madam Rufflebonnet here is downplaying it. Saying you don't know what you're talking about. That's all in your head. You're a mess. Like you think that you are tapped into something here, but really you're just a mess. You're coming undone. And this is creating some sense of confusion maybe in somebody that is having an experience, man. It looks like a mystical experience. Maybe did some deep, like heavy duty underworld work, integrating a lot of heavy shadow stuff. But I see that the reason why you've been doing that is because you recognize that it's the medicine you need. There's been a fracturing. There's been a fracturing between the south and the north. There's been a fracturing just in terms of your sense of self and being able to really hold your ground in an empowered way. And you recognize that you had to dive deep and understand what it means to find strength in yielding and bending a bit, in being more supple, you know. There's something that really had to be tempered out of you. You know, you were forged in a fire. I think that's why you went down south there into the underworld. There's something that you had to feel the heat of it so you could find a new sort of steely strength that could come through, maybe even a bit of stoicism here. You had to gain knowledge of the strength you hold. You didn't have awareness of it, not really, not fully. There's also something here about, yeah, I mean, I think you feel activated. You may feel like you got some frayed nerves. That could be somebody in connection here that feels like they have frayed nerves. They just feel like their nervous system's been through a lot. They feel on edge. It might not be your energy though, because like I'm seeing this like sleeping serpent energy here. That's like that kundalini, that life force energy, that awakening energy of transformation that's kind of like teeming in you here. And you might be very open. I could see that. You might need to do more kind of clearing work around your third eye. You might need to kind of clear out that chakra, ajna there, because there's something there that I feel like is being affected by the input of a like real meddling person who is not wanting you to open up your sight. Maybe was more comfortable with you just trusting whatever they were guiding you to do or advising you to do. And now you're not needing their advice anymore. You're not needing their input anymore. And so that's making this individual want more access to you because they want to know what's up. You would always come to me. You were asking for my advice. And now we're not really talking anymore. Okay, this is really interesting energy. You might have needed to take a step back. Take a step back. You had to do some integrative work. You're meant to have this experience. Like you're tapping into your roots here. You're not like everybody else. You're not. Look, you got that stag quality in you. It's in your blood, you know. You're already really connected to the old ways. If you did as you so choose without worrying about what others would think, you might be considered quite eccentric, you know. You could be a weird old wizard, or you could be somebody who walks a path that is really counterculture. It may even be something that has just been birthed out of your own body of knowledge, experiential knowledge. You may have created your own spiritual path, you know. And those are the best kind, the kind that really rise up out of the relentless Tao, that experience that you've had in your earth walk and all the twists and turns and where it's carried you. And I think that you've started to heal. I mean, I feel like this is why you've been doing this deep kind of dive work, is you've been healing what was fractured, and it looks like it's been fractured psychically. And as you do that, that sleeping serpent's going to start to stir, to awaken your self-knowledge. And you can have very unusual experiences. You may have shared some of these experiences with Madame Rufflebonnet. Madame Rufflebonnet wants you to stop peering into the mystery, wants you to put an end to that. You got to ask yourself why, though. What is the real reason? What is the reason why? I want to know, why does Madame Rufflebonnet not want you to see further into the mystery? Because you see, it's something that gives you strength. You might have suppressed this side. You may have started to suppress this side. Maybe you were talking to this person. You were sharing some of your spiritual experiences with this person. And then you notice the way that they were trying to close your sight. Yeah. You got something really stirring in your root cellar here. I think you're about to be activated. This is starting to team with the lead up to that Taurus new moon on the 16th. There's a lot that you've kind of kept inside that you haven't shared with other people. I don't know who I'm tapping into here, but I am picking up somebody that holds like a lot of creative power. You have a lot of potential here that's just ready to be activated. And there's new worlds. There's like new worlds that you're going to really weave into reality. I feel that. It's got this effect. You're somebody who does know how to see things multi-dimensionally. I really feel that. And there is something that you are bringing forward here. This is what's coming through. I don't know who I'm talking to, but it's the fulfillment of a karmic contract that goes way back to the roots, the origin of your soul when it first incarnated. That's how it's coming through here. So, you know, you got to be mindful about who you share your experiences with, because there are a lot of people that will just tell you that you're a mess, you're confused, like your brain doesn't work right, you're crazy, you know, just because somebody hasn't had an experience that you have. It's interesting to me, though. It's like, what is the true motivation? Maybe Madame Rufflebonnet's afraid of something you're going to stir up. Something, maybe a matter that was laid to rest. Something that had been put aside, and you're about to kind of like reawaken that, whatever that is. Why does Madame Rufflebonnet want to put an end to you seeing into the mystery? Well, because she wants you to be loyal to, you know, continuing to, you know, flog a dead horse here. You know, something that's already come to an end, a particular journey that's already come to an end, a particular venture. It's something that at one time you were nurturing and you were invested in it. You may have gone down quite a road with Madame Rufflebonnet, engaged in this, whatever this is, maybe allowing her to spoon feed you wisdom or spoon feed you assistance. I got the impression with Madame Rufflebonnet that she wants to feel valued. This is what I'm picking up. She wants to feel valued, and she thinks the way to make herself valued is to have others be dependent on her. That's how it's coming through. And I actually don't think anything is an infinite cosmic mess. I think that the unraveling that you're experiencing, what is dissolving for you, at times it can feel a little messy or awkward, but I think ultimately the more you go further into it, the more that the old identity dissolves, the more teeming with life and creativity and potential you have, the more you're activated. It's like the more you're awakened and stirred. So I don't think this is problematic for you. I think what's problematic maybe is, how do I deal with this? Because I know that I'm not invested in this any longer, and yet I'm kind of riding the hedge. No, that's what it could be. That's kind of interesting. That's what's interesting. Ah, I see. Okay, if you're out there and you're trying to really bring something in and you've been finding it difficult to root your workings in material reality, what you're trying to pull into your life here, you feel like you come close, but you never kind of get the ultimate goal, or you're always falling short, or there's always something that needs to be switched around, adjusted here. This is like the anchoring of a dream, something you've been trying to work with, call in. You may have even been doing a lot of work on yourself in relation to this, just looking at, well, what are my belief systems that I have in place? Are there ways that I sabotage myself? You know, what did I learn about, for example, relationships or money or whatever it is growing up? How is that affecting my relationship to those things, my ability to receive what I'd like to see there? You may have been doing like a lot of this unraveling work, kind of deprogramming would have been set in place because you recognized it was unhealthy. Okay. You might have really been working on this on many different levels, but as you started to unravel that, you're having your creative energy come on board. And the thing that's preventing you from anchoring it, like seeing the change physically in your life, because you may be one of these people who's like, I don't get it. I've done all this work. I stay focused, you know, I feel like I'm running my energy in a really solid way. I'm working my path, but why do I keep having this sort of skip in the record? I keep having similar experiences get rooted here. And what it is you're out there right now. You're like hedge riding, okay? You're hedge riding. You're on, you know, trying to sync up with the timeline that is really aligned with your sense of purpose and everything that's wanting to become for you right now. Everything you've already kind of been seeding out there on the ether. And then you also have, you know, your past self and your future self that's based on who you've been up to this point and not the potential of this timeline that you're ready to jump onto. So it's kind of like creating a little bit of this confusion. And because of that, you got this character, you know, Madame Rufflebonnet, whoever this is for you, coming in that's always trying to like micromanage you because it's mirroring something to you within yourself that makes you feel like you can't really step into that role of mastering your situation internally, activating that avatar within you or the Atman, and really be able to be the creator of your path by applying your self-knowledge and all that you hold here. And so you're out here kind of like, you know, riding the hedge, and you got this very grounding force that kind of takes you back into the old mindset related to the past. And meanwhile, it's distracting you from the focus you need to bring it all into the center and align with it. So it is coming through as meddling through distraction, like right as you're getting into the zone and you're getting into this very meditative space and you're having all of these awakening experiences. You're seeing yourself differently. You're seeing others differently. You're having almost like the fabric of reality as you've seen it is starting to fray and it's starting to rip open, and it's giving you a different view of what's beyond this one layer veil of illusion. Maybe that's kind of how that underworld energy is coming through. Same like Ishtar going down into the underworld and shedding some kind of adornment at each of the gates before she could just be in the truth of who she is. It's like she had to go through a renunciation, metaphorically, a renunciation of the former self to step into what she was going to become. There was also some messy navigation of that too, a little bartering, you know, a little bartering, a little, okay, well, an eye for an eye, you know, if you give me the ability to take this wisdom and all I've learned during this time up here, maybe I can, you know, trade places with another person here. There could be a little bit of this action going on too, you know. Could be Madame Rufflebonnet is wanting to barter to have the sight, you know. Barter to have the sight that you have. Maybe comes off as more of a meddling influence, but it's actually, she wants a little bit of that medicine that you got there. She wants a little bit of that medicine that you got there so she can journey to the places that you go. That could be the loyalty energy there as well. But what's coming through is this distraction because your focus is divided. If you have somebody kind of always pecking at you here, you know, and butting their nose into your business and creating, it's coming through as little emergencies, like you got to drop everything you're doing right now because this is going on over here. That can really keep you from being able to hone your focus and drive it all home. Bring it all in here. Interesting energy. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, no access. Don't grant access to the secrets you hold or these visions you have, because there's certain doorways of perception that people have to earn their entry into. You hold the fertility of the Empress right now. That applies whether you're a man or a woman. It makes no difference how you identify either. You hold the charge of the Empress right now. That is the ability to receive abundance, but it's because of the work that you've done, the integrative work you've done, what you've allowed to dissolve within you that was achieved painstakingly. I mean, I feel like it was a journey where many times you did feel like you were the horse that was being flogged. Do you know what I'm saying? And there weren't enough spoons that ever could have nourished you, nurtured you. But I do feel like you've come out the other side of this. This is the one last thing that remains, is really making it clear that some journeys are journeys taken alone. Not every experience is meant to be shared. That's kind of how it's coming through. I think this is really important in the case of Madame Rufflebonnet. Anything else you want to bring in relation to this with Madame Rufflebonnet here? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just like I was saying. Not all of the doors of perception should be accessible to those who are not ready to pass through them. We got the flying man here taking a full leap into the void, hedging the bets, willing to be daring. Feels like, yeah, I can pluck a diamond from the void. I can root something in reality. I'm going to make a dream happen. I know I got to be all in. I know it's going to be an infinite cosmic mess. But it lands me in the center where finally all of these disparate timelines converge into the timeline that has been here all along. I just didn't have the awareness of it. I was distracted, right? This is really important. So I feel like whatever you're holding here, whatever you're working on, working with here, focused on, it's essential that you do keep it to yourself. There's something you're earthing here right now. There's something that you're planting a seed of right now. And it must be kept underground. If it's not kept underground, there can be fracturing of the timeline, fracturing of the path to take you there. And you lose resilience. You lose a certain resilience. It's the fact that you have this intimate thing that's intimate between you, your soul, and spirit itself, creator itself, that you are actually in the position you are that gives you the resilience. Do you know what I mean? There's something about that. There's power in intimacy. And that's also intimacy you have with your own connection to your life. Through a spiritual lens, through what gives your life personal meaning, however you feel that sense of connection. Some things are just between you and your own heart. And I feel like that's what this is here. Really, really interesting message there. Go ahead and give me any further clarification on that. Yeah, you absolutely are going through some kind of major transformation here. You've been journeying through the 8th house, Scorpio's territory here, and you do finally have something caught up by the tail, judgment in your favor. There's a new beginning, rebirth energy. You've cleansed away the old cycle. There's something you're free of here. The Frotus no longer has its grasp on you. You're too awake. There's no way you can go back to sleep, no matter what anybody says. And in fact, you may actually be leading the charge with something where you're going to help wake up other people too. There's something you do have to share here. And nobody's going to put you in a position of being like the hangman, because you know where your sun is. You know what you need to focus on. So it's single pointed focus right now. No more hanging out. Time to move something into action. The transformation's already underway. There's real strong Scorpio energy around this. So this is that like awakening energy that comes in on the 16th with the new moon in Taurus. That new moon is really coming in with that energy of Mars and Pluto, the awakener, coming in with the tower. But the awakening is something that actually brings the chariot forward. It helps us get where we need to go. And you just got to be aware of these energies, you know, robo-dodo. You know, it's this energy. It's this Madame Rufflebonnet energy. And there's this sort of like almost irony in it, because I feel like whoever Madame Rufflebonnet is, Madame Rufflebonnet has somebody watching them as well, paying attention to them, keeping an eye on things. You know, I don't know what extent Madame Rufflebonnet's gone to have access to your personal information or what's going on in your life, but I don't know. Are they crossing tangible boundary lines? Has it gone a little too far? It's possible there could be a truth being revealed here. I mean, if Madame Rufflebonnet's watching you, somebody's watching Madame Rufflebonnet. I mean, that could be the case, right? That could be coming through. Somebody may have some eyes on them too. Somebody may be curious about why they're so curious about you. Why are they keeping an eye on you? What's up with that? What's going on with that? Okay, so it's really unusual energy here. Unusual energy we're moving through right now in this little segue leading up to that Taurus new moon. I'm really looking forward to the full moon, the blue moon that comes in to close the month on the 31st. Because I feel like that's when we're done with all this crap, you know, this people being a little too up our ass, man. Just like wanting to know about stuff. It's none of their freaking business, man. And I think that's what this is coming through as too, that Sagittarian full moon. Like, no, we're not going to be loyal to people, places, and things that require that they have just unlimited access to what is very personal in some cases. You know, there's something here where it's like we're not going to nurture that anymore. We're not going to feed that anymore. We're going to start to really starve that energy. And a lot of times it's just about not giving it attention, you know, not giving it attention, or just making it very clear. Sometimes a boundary needs to be communicated. Hey, I don't want to talk about this. We can talk about other things, but I don't want to talk about this. You know, and if somebody gets agitated about you putting down a boundary line around what you are willing to talk about and what's private and personal to you, well, that pretty much tells you everything you need to know. I want to pull out this deck here. This is my Uno playing card deck. I want to see what hand the collective is working with right now. So we got a little bit of kind of annoying energy that's out there. Busybody, micromanaging energy, surveillance kind of energy, to up in your business energy out there. And meanwhile, you're going through some kind of real cathartic process here. You're starting to see things a lot differently. Your old self is quickly dissolving, and you're coming into your new form. You're coming into your new form, and there's a new road about to open up. The adventure of the fool. But first, you know, an old journey has to come to a close. That's just the way it goes. Bottom of the deck, fire forward. I like this. Heart fire lit with the Queen of Clubs. This is also really ready to take the initiative. Ready to light a fire. Ready to blaze a trail. ready to bring the fire forward and look good doing it too. I do feel like there's more this sense of a lot of you are going to be feeling more confident. You may have been dealing with people who tried to dim your shine, like tried to put you down or make you feel that you just simply feeling good about yourself is being too big for your britches, and that's not the case at all. So I think a lot of you are shaking all of that off and you're seeing yourself more accurately and you're not being influenced by other people's opinions. King of Spades energy, yeah, really being decisive about cutting off that crap and just allowing yourself to be who you are here. Be who you are here. I like this energy. You got an ace of clubs here, so you do hold a lot of power right now. And it is forged out of your wisdom. You learned a lot about what it means to hold power in relation to something you walked away from. It may have taken a lot of strength for you to walk away from something here, but I see as a result of that, you've got a good luck cycle coming in. Good news. Your prospects are looking good. And I do feel like where you did have to make some cuts, because I feel like you gave, a couple people an axe here, and you said that's done. We're not going to do this anymore. You may have even put some blocks in place or something. You may have felt like you needed to do that. You had to do that to protect your heart. You may have dealt with betrayal here. You're tired of dealing with people, whether they be a friend, whether they be a lover, whether they be a mentor, whoever they may be. You're tired of dealing with people where it's not safe. Your heart doesn't feel safe being with them. It's like once a corner turns in a connection in that way where you feel like you can't trust somebody with your heart, then regardless of what that source from, whether it's something the other's doing or whether it's your old shit coming up that needs to be, looked at, released, integrated, all that, it's irrelevant. It's just a clear sign that it don't matter. There's no way to move forward if there's not a sense of mutual respect, safety, safety in really entrusting another with what is important to you. And for some of you, this could be like a vision you have, something that's really close to your heart. You may not want to share something with somebody. You may not want to talk to them about it because you notice when you talk to them about it before or other things that meant something to you, this person put them down or told you why it couldn't happen, or they in some way rained on your parade and you're just over it. You're over it. I do see there is something you cut off here. You had to sacrifice some things. You had to be decisive about it, but they were clean cuts, man. Looks like they were clean cuts. And where you made the cuts, you acted in accordance with where you were at, with what felt right to you. They may feel like you came out of left field. I got that energy here. Not at all. Not at all. There's too much precision with it. Like, not at all. I don't feel that's the case at all. I think more than anything, you illuminated for them in taking that action their blind spot. You showed them where they weren't seeing you accurately, or weren't seeing themselves accurately, or weren't seeing the situation accurately. Because it is coming in as like a karmic matter. It's coming in with sort of like this 12th house energy. Also, this could be somebody that maybe you were familiar with. On the surface, it appeared like everything was good in the connection. On the surface, it appeared like you were friends or you were good work colleagues or whatever this is. But really, there was always this sabotaging element there. And you felt it. You always felt it, but you didn't really want to truly acknowledge it because you just wanted to believe in better in the person. But something here came through that made it undeniable. And this wasn't like the first occasion. You dealt with something multiple times. And I think you finally said, no, I'm going to say yes to me. That's right. And it was the wise thing to do in that case. You had to flip it up there. You had to flip up your investment there. You had to pull out of that arrangement that wasn't going to work. And you had to separate yourself from it. Absolutely. Look at all the threes on the board. 3, 3, 3 coming in here. It was wise. It was wise. You cutting that off was wise. That was you using your power wisely. You said, I'll be damned if I betray my own heart by continuing to be loyal to this. Yep. That's what that is. It's good energy. I like it. Okay. And when we total all this up, all this energy on the board, we got 20. Judgment. It was sound judgment. You trusted your intuition. Now that almost wanted to slide off the table there. Ooh, I like this. Right now, you can use any of the suits of the clubs or the spades at your disposal. You can pull from any of the energy. Another way to look at it would be the wands or the swords. You have the ability to tap into any of the suit and use its full potential to your advantage, because you do have this wild card energy here. So this could be a big power move you're making in terms of business. A lot of times clubs can speak to business, success in some objective, success in executing a decision, success in executing an idea you have, an inspiration you have, because you have access to a truth. Okay, there's some strong action you're taking here. Whatever action you're taking, it's based in the truth. It's sound judgment. It brings you success. Because you hold that power right now. You hold that power. So all the way from the ace to the 10, you can play any of those suits to your advantage. So tune into that energy and see what you need to pull in at this time, you know. I would say, you know, really use advantage of the ace. I mean, we know you got an ace here. So what do you want to bring in with that ace? You also got the 3 here too, okay? That's already quite a bit of power, you know. That's the 4 of clubs energy. So there's already something you're really bringing into alignment here. What do you want to build on top of that? You know, what do you want to build on top of that? If I were you, I'd play it and 8 of clubs, really speed things up. You know, quicken what's been kind of put on hold for too long from sort of straddling those timelines. Yeah. Oh, wow. I just saw it here. Look, you got the 4 of clubs right here. Absolutely. So maybe what you need too is I could see the 2 of clubs as well. What else do we got here? We got Jack of clubs, Jack of diamonds, Ace of hearts, 6 of clubs. Wow. 6 of spades, 4 of hearts. Yeah, you totally turned the wheel for yourself. You let go of a journey where you felt like there was no moving forward with this because it just wasn't living up to what you truly desire. It's like, yeah, you know, it's close, no cigar. And instead you're like, no, I want the whole enchilada, man. I'm going to go for the big grande, you know, dream. I want to really feel like I made it. I made it. I made it to the place that makes my heart feel, I heard young again. Makes my heart feel young again. And there's real investment in this. Jack of diamonds to the Jack of clubs. Wherever you're going, you're certainly invested in a lot more fun, a lot more spiritedness. There's more fire here. There's more that lights you up and intrigues you. And brings almost like, I got like this kind of jolly energy. Jolly, jovial, you know. There's something about it. Maybe you were always like that when you were younger. You were more spirited, you know. You had a real jolly nature to you. Jovial, always laughing, cracking people up, you know. Maybe you've been out of your element in that regard for a while. You've been too glum. It could be like the company you're keeping. That could be part of the problem. I don't know. There's somebody really persnickety that's around you. this Madam Rufflebonnet energy is being a drag. But I feel like that's not going to be a problem for much longer. I feel like somebody's also watching Madam Rufflebonnet too. So soon that truth's going to come home to roost, and there's going to be something to contend with there. I feel like that's how that's kind of coming in. Let me just do a cut of the deck here to cap this off, and then I'm going to get just an oracle card to set a reality tunnel focus, to kind of journey through, to keep it real simple and clear. Cut of the deck. Ace of Spades, you know, it's really the only card you need is the Ace of Spades. So I like that energy. And yeah, there's some kind of healing coming in here. We got Two of Hearts. So you're coming into alignment with that timeline. You may be coming into alignment with the ideal opportunity that brings your dream. Brings your dream home to roost, you know. This could be you're coming into alignment with somebody that's like this teaming of energies. There's something of power that happens here. So that's some cool energy we're working with, collective. I dig it. Let's get us a focus here on a reality tunnel we can mock up as we journey through these next 72 hours. What kind of reality tunnel do we need to mock up here? Just give us a single point of focus so we know where to direct all of our awareness, all of our attention, our intention. What is coming in here? What is coming in here? Oh, just overthrowing the Frodis, that's all. It's already happening, actually. You know, that's the thing. It is already here. It's just not happening in this dimensional level of awareness yet. You're kind of ahead. You're kind of ahead of the current timeline that most are connected to. You and others who are more forward thinkers and are too curious to not explore other dimensions of sight and experience are ahead of the curve here, you know. Yeah, you're going to catch up this particular vampire here through utilizing your emotional intelligence. This is somebody who wants to partake of your knowledge. They want access. There's a spider crawling. There's a spider crawling here. Interestingly, crawling on a veil. So that's interesting. There's some illusion here. Maya, how she spins. Skull of darkness, blind spot. This is what's frustrating this character that's hungry for your energy, hungry to pick your brain, trying to get access to you, paying attention to you. They're hungry for your energy, but they have a blind spot. So you must have taken some kind of action. Either you've like stepped back from this person a little bit, or you blocked them, or they just don't have access like they used to. You used to give this person a lot more access. That's how you know what this is, okay? They were feeding off your energy a little bit. They were feeding off of whatever you gave them. So if you confided in them, they took that information, they used it to their advantage in some way. So it's coming through. And all under the guise of being very helpful. I'm just worried about you. I just want to help you. Yeah, but see, something's come to a close. Tajetes, Mexican marigold. Ooh, that spider really swooped down. Oh, maybe I shouldn't weave that thread of deception. I could get caught up in that. Yeah, no, that cord's been cut. I mean, when you look at Tajetes, that's what Tajetes is used for. It's excellent for releasing attachments, really clearing it out, but it's also bringing in the quality of reverence around what is being released. And nothing's being done disrespectfully. It's being done as a result of your new awareness about who you are, what's right for you, and who you're meant to share your road with. So this is really about respecting the endings, the closings in your life, and the releasing of attachments that cannot grow with you, with what you're stepping into here. And something has come to a close. It's currently being incinerated in the South Node. It's going through the transformation of the South, which is the fire. But what comes out the other side is you creating through the ashes. There's really something gorgeous that blooms there, okay? So let's get a focus, What is the focus for our reality tunnel for the next 72 hours? Just please, Spirit, a single point of focus, so we can use it as our guide over these next 72 hours to align us with synchronicities, to align us with the keys that we need, the information we need. One single point of focus, please. One single point of focus, please. Just one. Okay, we got it. Let's see what this is. Whatever this is, it will be a bridge for us. Ooh. And it makes it possible for us to navigate a little bit of a tricky stretch of road here. Little tricky test. Also, something about community. Could be coming from somebody in your community, something that goes down in your community. But this is coming in to alchemize whatever this is. So the activation of a big, bold vision can come through. That's the basis of the matter here. This is about coming together with people. There's new potential that's being seeded here. It's something that has far-reaching impact, okay? It's not something little. Also, it may give you some kind of visibility or really shift your day-to-day reality, you know, in terms of just your status, your visibility, who you're connected to. I do feel like this is something that's visible because every time I tap into that Capricorn energy, I can't help but think of the 10th house. So you're being seen very differently too with what you're stepping into. This is something big, bold. It does require you go out on a limb a little bit, but it's something that's charged to you, and you have the vision here, and the vision's coming in. And this is something that it's like it pollinates. It's something that it has reach, and you're making contact with other people. And it just gives me this impression of it activates a lot of other people too. It has a ripple effect, you know, whatever this is, it has far reach. So what does the focus need to be? I like this. Look at that. You are a seed resting in the dark. If you have not worked with that meditation that I brought in, that particular portal report, I am going to go ahead and feature it as a card at the end of this video. That would be an excellent one to drop in on, because that's what this reminds me of, that work that we did to come into alignment with the energy of the Empress and the Fool, to open the road, to get back to that 0 point. This is that energy of no mud, no lotus. It's like you went through the mud. You've been slogging through the mud. You've dealt with that feeling of what it means to feel like you're kind of moving through quicksand, where you feel like you get a little bit forward, but then there's something that has to be dealt with that keeps you firmly anchored in place for a while. But all the while, what was happening is the potential of the bloom, the lotus, this unfurling that's happening, that's revealing the beauty of what has been germinating there during that time when you weren't sure exactly what you were rooting, but it will break ground here. The perfection of your life. This is the focus. This is your reality tunnel. So you can set this up at the start of your day. And you can set it up just by even just surrounding yourself with an energetic reality tunnel, however you choose to envision that. And seed it with seeing the perfection of your life as you move throughout your day. Just try it out. Try it out. And maybe try it out by also really setting that intention with that meditation I brought in with that particular portal report. revisiting that. You are a seed resting in the dark. I feel like that's really activating. And if you have not gone through that meditative process, it is something that can help really anchor this for you. But yes, this is a reality tunnel. What is coming to bloom? How can we see the perfection of our life in relation to what we see unfolding now, opening up to us now? Also, the trees continue to be ever present. Go connect with the tree. Do a little forest bathing. Root yourself with the tree, all right? I don't know. Maybe that is the seed. Maybe that is the seed that you're planting in the dark, that you're resting in the dark with. A tree, something that will grow with deep roots, something that will reach its branches up into the heavens, something that has stability, something that knows how to hold that energy of the Southwest, to be able to bend gracefully with the changes that are inevitable on our path in life, and to be able to weather the storms with strength and grace. And also to see what endures there on the other side. It's what endures on the other side that is the perfection of your life. And that is about to become so abundantly clear for you. It's beautiful. Godspeed.